Sam. Okay, we're gonna get everybody in the picture. Let's talk to her now. Let's introduce everybody. Young lady.
Amanda Godbold. Shirley Godbold.
Ron.
Rhonda Panucci.
Sam.
This is Tom Godbold.
Old Soldier Sam.
Jenny.
Jenny. Now, we are here to celebrate Sam's 101st birthday. He's got his first 100 out of the way. He's working on his second 100. And Sam, tell us about yourself. Tell us.
Right above Methuselah. That's what gave me the incentive.
Now you were a colonel. You were a colonel. You got out of the army
I started
as
as a private and retired as a lieutenant colonel.
Okay.
And I participated in 3 wars. The Battle of the Bulge first as a rifle platoon leader, and I was at the Palace of Justice and got the Justice building ready for the trial. And then I went to Japan and learned Japanese, and I was in Japan 7 years. I speak Japanese with an Italian accent.
Tell us about the flag. You said you made a flag.
Oh yes, I got homesick for the flag after 30 days of the Battle of the Bulge. Not seeing the flag, we take it for granted. We see it in the parking lot, we see it at the stores, and we take it for granted. But after 30 days of the Battle of the Bulge, I got so homesick for the flag, and I asked for one. And of course, I realized later they're not going to send one to the foxhole. I was on a distribution list, so it made me mad. So I said, "We'll make our own." So when I mentioned to my men, the men were all excited, and we started. We collected the cloth. And we took 3 months to make it in German cellars with candlelight, and we bought a sewing machine and we worked at it, and the next day we returned the sewing machine when we went on the attack again. So we only worked when we were in reserve. And it took 3.5 months. At the end of the war, I wanted to give it to the Smithsonian, and they sent me the beautiful letter, and they said, "We would love to have it, but you've got to realize we'd only expose it for a year, and then it would go into archives and nobody will ever see it again. Send it to a local museum," and I did that, and it's at the Infantry Museum at Fort Benning, Georgia. So if any of you are up that way, they've taken good care of it. It's been there ever since World War II.
Now tell us about your adventure when you crossed the River Rhine. Didn't you have that flag?
No, the most courage that it took. It took more courage for this than all the other. I used courage in other places. We reached at the end of the Bulge on the German border, and the German border was 200 yards by 1,000 yards. As far as we could see, it was all snow covered and smooth. And we were in 3 companies. First company started off, and the first man stepped in the beautiful white snow, and his leg is blown. It's a minefield. The second company did the same thing. Their lead man went off. He put his foot in the snow, and his leg is blown. So then I called, it's our turn. JJ, my company commander, said, "Sam, it's our turn." So I said, Sergeant Lights was my scout. I called him up. I said, "Okay, Lights, you lead." And with that, he fainted right in front of me. So I knew I had to do something real quick. So I got all the men together, and I said, "I will lead. But we'll go one step further. I do not step out of my footprint." So I looked unto heaven and I said, "God help me." And I took my first step, crunch, 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 all the way down. Nothing happened. Next time, right foot, crunch, 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 nothing happened. And I did that for 250 yards. And when I got to the other side of the bank, my company commander was the last one in line. I looked back and what a beautiful sight it was with everybody in my footprint for 250 yards, and everyone, 160 men, crossed it safely.
So you saved 160 men by your courage, by making the first steps, and you led the way.
It took more courage for that. So the crowning blow was that 3 days later the rains came in March and melted all the snow. We were up there to see what it was, what we crossed, and there was a cargo net over the whole field in the border, and with the 1 yard square, a meter square, which is almost 3 by 3, and there's a mine in each square. So there was a mine at every 3 feet for the whole 250 yards. So I know that I had divine help. I know that.
And you carried the American flag across the Rhine River?
And then it's the first one across, right.
Sam, you're a brave hero. You're a World War II veteran, the Battle of the Bulge. You served in Vietnam. You served in Japan, Southwest Asia. You're my hero. Without you,
Thank you.
our country would not be free. Everybody here, we want to thank you. Wish you a happy birthday. We're going to take the camera off you for a second, Sam, because we're going to show everybody here. Sam, happy birthday, Sam.
Happy birthday, Sam.
Sam, we appreciate you.
Happy birthday, Sam.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Sam. Happy birthday.
Here we are with Lieutenant Colonel Sam Lombardo and U.S. Army World War II Battle of the Bulge veteran. God bless you, Sam, and happy birthday.
Nobody said happy
Best party ever, right?
ready for interrogation. I had to get 5 rooms ready. And they were in the prison next door to the palace. Every day they bring them up the stairs, with 2 MPs, 1 on each side, and they take them to these rooms and they interrogate them to prepare them for the trial. Well, a dumb colonel from Washington.
Well,
He came over as an observer. So here, the first room I had to get ready was for Herman Goring. So I got it all ready, was all set for them to interrogate him. So this colonel came up and said, "Lombardo, would you go through Nuremberg and get some white silk?" And I looked at him, I said, "White silk?" I said, "For what?" He said, "We want to impress Goring. We want to outline the whole room in white silk." And I said, "We just beat the you-know-what out of him." I told him, "And you want me to get white silk? We just won the war." And I'm a first lieutenant. He's a full colonel from Washington. And he backed off. I said, "What a stupid order. What a stupid order." Yeah, can you imagine? Put white silk to impress Goring.
Stupid order.
Yeah, we just beat the heck out of him. I said it differently, but
He came in with his whole uniform stripped of all his medals.
oh,
and
he
everything.
did. He was all gray and white as sheets. I saw him every day right here with 2 MPs, 1 on each side, and he walked a step at a time, 1 step and stop, 1 step and stop. People don't know this, but most of in Germany, Europe, the courthouse is on one side and the jail is on the other, and they have a tunnel. They don't want to expose the prisoners to the public. So they just come down, and that's what they brought him up through the tunnel. And I would stand at the top of the stairs. I couldn't take any pictures. You know, they were forbidden, but I stood at the top of and every day they come up. He was white as a sheet, and they stripped of all his medals. But they think that the lieutenant or captain was in charge of him, befriended him, and Goring had the cyanide in the locker, and I think he got it for him. Go out and get my, he killed himself in the prison. Committed suicide with the cyanide. So they think he befriended the captain, and the captain got it for him. He had it in his satchel. So I'm glad I had that assignment. Anyhow, one day, every day at 5 o'clock, the little old lady was at the gate. Every day. So finally Colonel Corley said, "Lombardo, go out and see what she wants." So I got an interpreter. I went out there and said, "You're here every day at 5 o'clock. What do you want?" To tell the people, it shows you how much I really respected Pat. He said, "I want to see the Poncho General Patton." That's all she wanted every day. So they respected the power. They respected. They thought a lot of it. Yeah, a lot of things happened in that area. It was interesting assignment. Yodel, General Yodel replaced Hitler as the old chief. He was there, so one day Mrs. Yodel comes in with an apple and an orange. She comes down from Berlin. She said, would you please give these to my husband who's here? But at that time it was supposed to be secret, and I lied. I'm sure my face got red. but I couldn't admit it. So I said, all we're doing is getting ready for military upgrade. She said, yeah, but the sergeant stripes in Berlin said the stars were going to be held here. I'm sure my face got red, but I couldn't admit it. So I didn't take it on it, you know. They might have been poisoned. And I couldn't admit that up to that time, it was still a secret that we were getting the place ready for the trial. And-
Nuremberg Trials.
Nuremberg Trials.
And the best thing, this goes on, the cellar, it was all, you can't believe, like a dungeon. But as far as you could see, the hallway was all grandfather clocks. Beautiful German grandfather clocks. There must have been 20 or more. So I picked one, I got the clockmaker in Nuremberg, come out, they got them all running. Then I got the four best ones and took them upstairs. I gave one to the British, one to the Americans. And Justice Jackson, they said that was his pet peeve, was a clock. So I got the best one for him. So we were all lined up in his room to meet him when he came up. And I thought he would come around and shake our hand. Instead of that, he went straight to the clock. Where'd the world you get this clock? So when I left, he gave me a beautiful letter of commendation. That I did a good job, but I was trying to keep all the delegations happy. We had the Russians, the British, the French, and I keep them all happy. Very hard because you gave one a typewriter, and within minutes they'd be in my office and said, "Where's mine?" So I had to read and it was a tough job.
Had
Not
the,
a tough was.
had the clocks been taken from Jewish families?
No, I think they were taken from a building or all put down there for safety.
Safekeeping.
For safety. Yeah, it was beautiful, really beautiful dog.
Because I know they took a lot of stuff from
So
Jewish
what will you have?
families.
Nothing right now.
Nothing right
Right now,
now?
let's
Relax.
just
Let it settle.
All right.
Well, you did what? You played a joke
All
on.
of it. That's the last war story.
You played a joke
No,
on.
I played it. The only time I played a trick, I played a joke on my platoon sergeant. We were coming down the Ruhr pocket, and after the Battle of Bulge, nobody had good shoes. You know, they were all dilapidated, in bad shape. So here, right, there was a small building, white building, like a farm building. We went and opened the doors, and thousands, I'll bet 1,000 pair of shoes, war-marked shoes, with the hobnails and all. So I said, help yourself. I said, no matter, they're German shoes, but we all need shoes. And I know my size was 44. They use the centimeters or whatever.
Right.
So everybody got shoes. Okay, so we went up in Honningen on the hill, and everybody got foxholes and all. And I had to stay up at night to make sure the guards, Germans, didn't come through. So I got tired about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I stayed up all night. So I got Platoon Sergeant Rosen, and I said, Rosen, you take over because German patrols would come through the line. So in the morning at 7 o'clock, I only got 2 hours sleep. I got up. I said, what happened? He said, Lieutenant, he said, we almost had it. We almost had it. I said, why? He said, so he took me over to each foxhole, and there were cleat marks. Cleat marks. I looked at him, I let him go, I let him tell me, and when we got to the second or third hole, I raised my foot up. This was I stopped at each hole all night. All night I stopped at each hole because I had my German shoes too.
That's hilarious.
That's the only joke I could. I looked at him. I said, "Rosen, look at my shoes. You remember the German shoes we all picked up?" So that's the only joke I pulled on him.
That's awesome.
Why couldn't you allow, because I know it was asked of you to send your flag down to headquarters, why wouldn't you have sent it, and why couldn't they fly it?
Why couldn't they fly the flag?
Yeah.
The flag you made.
The flag you
They
made, why
requested
would
It is so heavy, you can't believe it's real heavy. It won't flutter like a regular flag.
Yeah, but
My battalion commander wanted it because they didn't have a flag. We were on the Danube River. We were ready to cross, and we couldn't cross until they built a pontoon bridge. So we spent the night there. in the meantime, my company commander calls and said, Sam, he said, Colonel Allen would like to have the flag. Would you like to give him the flag because he wants to fly it on top of the castle, on top of the hill? Beautiful. I said, no. I said, at that time, only one side was finished. And I said, what will the German think? You're going to surrender or you're going to fight? I refused. I said, I'm not going to give it to him. He should have thought of it.
So did you ever finish the other side?
Oh yeah, we finished it from there on, and
So it wasn't white on one side and
yeah,
black
when
on
we
the other.
crossed the
When it was
gun, it
all
was
done,
only
it
one
was
side.
done.
It continued, and about 3 weeks before the war's end, it was finished, and then they called a platoon formation. I didn't know why. They said, Lieutenant, it was a couple of days before the war left that area, and when they had the platoon, then they presented me with the flag, because I was the one instrumental in getting it done. So
how hard was it to find red and blue
well,
fabric?
the white was when the city gave up, any town, every house in town
Had a white
put a
sheet.
flag up. It could have been a towel, it could have been a sheet.
Yeah.
And the house we were in reserve, I looked out the window, and it was actually, guess what? It's 3x5. We didn't even have to cut it. I looked at it, I said, that's the right size. And it happened to be the size of a standard 3x5. And then the blue were the curtains from that house, and the red were pillowcases. And we had fun with the pillowcases because in Germany, the most wealthy, can you imagine the thousands of feathers? How much they're stuck with eider down. The little pin feathers that the goose has in the chest. 2 big red pillows, this big, in this house. So the minute we opened it up, you can imagine what we had. It flew and we couldn't even breathe. So we opened the door, we opened the window, and the GIs were playing baseball outside, and they saw this cloud coming out, and they all came over and said, what gives? And that was the birth of our flag. That was the start.
But your sewing machines, were they treadle or were they electric?
The what?
The
sewing
sewing
machines,
machines,
did you
were they
have to-
manual? Did you have to use
no.
a treadle?
The sewing machine was a
Was it a
small,
foot pedal?
oh yeah, pedal.
Foot pedal operated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you requisitioned that from the Burgermeister?
Yeah, I sent Sergeant Rosen, who spoke German.
Ah,
He was a Jewish boy from, what a beautiful man. He's from the same place where the Jewish church was shot up a couple years ago. That's where he was from. Yeah, he lived in Pittsburgh. He would go out, we would send him out when we were reserve, and he would bar it for the night, and we'd work all night till 11, 12 o'clock. In the morning, we'd cook off again, we'd take it back, and then give it to him.
You're talking about the recent shooting.
Huh?
yeah, the recent shooting in
of the
Pittsburgh.
church in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so,
The recent shooting.
yeah, about a year ago
Yeah.
in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I have
I was
family
worried,
in
a
Pittsburgh.
third of my platoon were Jewish. So maybe they gave it to me. I thought the world, I couldn't have got a better platoon sergeant.
How much did you know about the Holocaust
Nothing.
that was going on? You
Nothing
had
at
no
all.
ideas?
Nothing. Until the war was over.
This kid.
And I'm disappointed that I didn't go, but I was busy that day.
You must have
But they all went to Dachau, which was right outside of Merlin, of Munich. And the lieutenant asked me, he said, we're going over to see the death camp over there. I would have given anything. That's where Eisenhower went and had the people of the town come up. I would have taken some pictures. I sent $5 to the museum in Washington. I wanted a picture of the Holocaust. So I had 2, 3, oh yes, the lieutenant brought me 3 or 4 pictures back. And I couldn't stand to look at them much longer. I wanted to put them in my book. This was afterwards. If I'd have thought of it earlier, I would have kept them. But it was too late. My book was done, but I didn't have the picture. I couldn't look at them and I tore them up. And then I sent $5 to the museum in Washington. I said, could you send me a photograph of the Holocaust? I wanted to put it in the book, and they never answered.
But that Auschwitz, that still stands.
Yes.
That still stands. But they're tearing down the monuments here.
The what?
Auschwitz.
Oh, yeah.
That still stands.
That's it.
But they're tearing down the monuments.
Bergenville
Oh, yeah.
is still
They're
there.
tearing down the monuments
That's
here.
right.
And that's sad.
You know, it's the same as when the Taliban wrecked those 2,000-year-old, you remember in Africa?
Yes.
It's the same thing. Vagabond. I just started to shoot him in the leg.
There you go.
Organization.
There you go.
Don't kill him.
Shoot him in the leg.
Yeah, shoot him in the leg.
I said it to the president. I wonder what he thinks. I write to him every week.
So if you'd have come across Hitler, you'd have shot him in the leg.
Shoot him in the leg organization.
Put you in charge. Right?
Well, they should shoot him in the leg when they refuse an order. They shouldn't wait till they, till they do other stuff.
That's right.
They wait till they say your life in danger. Their life should never be in danger. They should listen to them immediately.
Agreed.
They gotta respect the law. But we denuded the police. We denuded them.
You denuded
That's what
them.
I call. Yeah, denuded.
He denuded them.
I'll edit that.
You denuded?
I neutered them again.
Maybe they flashed
That's
back.
me nuding. Never mind.
Neuter diaper on.
Tom, maybe it should be denuded. Maybe
Deneutered.
no, denuded. Denuded the police. They should be given more strength, not less.
Yes.
You gotta respect them.
Yep.
If we don't have that, we're lost. We're lost.
I hear you.
Amen.
Both Grenadier, 2 Panzer divisions, and they want us to hold the
Your
line.
pants are down.
160 men.
Little Sheldon running around.
Yeah, the jerk of a intelligence officer, as I went outside, I went out the door, they gave me the order to get, make contact with Colonel Allen. And then a second lieutenant there said, you better give him a secondary order. And that's to replace the MLR, which is the main line.
Yeah.
So they think there's 50 men. So we go up and there's 2 Panzer divisions and 1 Volk Grenadier division. There's 3 divisions and they want 165 men to hold them. So we got orders to get out of there and get up on Elsenborn Ridge, and that's where we held the rest of the war.
Right.
So I led the battalion back, led them all back. We had one scare. We got in a defilade and I looked back and there's 2 tanks. They're 1,000 yards maybe, 2 tanks going like this. And I got everybody down. I was going to be the hero. I'm going to on the tank and throw a grenade in the door. I was waiting for it. So I said, everybody gets in, that's hollow. We have no bazookas, no nothing, no defense. We were so lucky. The tanks got out here and instead of coming this way, they turned the other way. What a lucky break, but we were ready for them. I was ready to climb a tank and throw a grenade.
Sam, if you had really
And I got a new car, I gotta use it.
it's new to
Beach
you.
wine, that's what's in your blue glass.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I should have put some of that sauce on mine.
Yeah, I didn't, but I'm okay.
Hold on.
Well, we got the bowls.
Got a picture of the
I'll
old
bring the
table,
bowl over
beautiful.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Give me a dip and then put it on the table.
There we go, Sam. I can edit some of this out.
Get what you want. Yeah, put the bread right in the center.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Smile.
What a nice table.
Sonrisa.
Smile, Sam.
What a, say, I gotta have a glass.
Yeah, one of us. Yes. Silence.
They say you must be drinking all the time.
Salute.
Every picture you take, I'll have that. They say you must be drinking all the time.
You're just jealous. They're just jealous.
All right. Trying to get out of the way. You know what I didn't get for you, Sam?
Look at that. We're gonna get a picture of your lunch, of your dinner. Look at
I'm
that.
perfect.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You wanted to get her. want to know if he had really truly come across Hitler, what would he
I would have taken him as prisoner.
You would take Hitler prisoner?
More than dead.
Yeah.
The tendency to shoot him right there, but no, take him back as a prisoner. He would get a lot more satisfaction, a lot of information. Well, what can you do? The first thing is to shoot him, to kill him.
But intelligence is more
But
important.
yeah, they're worth more.
Yeah.
Okay. A troop ship was going toward New Greenland, Greenland, with 700 troops.
Where was this? What year was this?
1943, 44.
Right.
It may stay there. But anyhow, 200 miles before they got to Greenland, the escorts left them. And within minutes, the submarine threw a torpedo and sunk the ship. While it was sinking, they had 900 troops aboard, and they only had life jackets for 700. So there's 4 chaplains, one from each religion, volunteered. They should have got the Medal of Honor. Anyhow, each one volunteered, took their jackets off, gave to 4 men who didn't have them, and they volunteered to get down with the ship. That takes courage. And the only reason they didn't get the Medal of Honor was because they weren't involved in a direct combat.
What did they get? What was the
So
name?
they created a new medal for them, Congress, call it the Medal of the 4 Chaplains, and they have a building in the Philadelphia Navy Yard, a building devoted to that. Madam Albright got the medal, President Eisenhower got the medal, Sam Lombardo got the medal.
Yay!
And I didn't even know about it, but it's what courage. And they should have got the Medal of Honor, but because they were not in direct
Right.
conflict with the enemy,
Right.
they created the new medal. I never even knew about it.
It was a German submarine.
It was great.
A German submarine sunk the ship.
Huh?
It was a German submarine.
German submarine, yeah.
Wow.
Sunk the ship, and they only had the life jacket for 700.
Understood.
And there were 900 people on it. So they went down, they volunteered. You know, when you have the Medal of Honor, some of the actual Medal of Honor, you act instantly. You don't have time to think. You think from your training, you do what you train.
Right.
But when you decide yourself right then and there, just like by going to the minefield, you have time to think, and you say, yes, I'm gonna do it. That takes courage. And that's what they did. They took more courage than anything else.